Hey guys, I'm so excited to be able to come to you guys today and start our fundamentals of pitching video 1. Okay, so the first session, there's a couple things that we're going to go over. Okay, but the first thing that we're going to go through is our warm-up. So for our warm-up, when we're pitching, we always want to do something to warm up our legs and arms to kind of get ourselves moving. So today we're going to do 10 times 2 long jumps or broad jumps, standing broad jumps, and then 5 times 2 single leg jumps, and I'm going to go through those. Okay. Once we're done with that, we're going to start with just our spins. I'm going to move back and go through 12 o'clocks. Then I'm going to go through a drill called go-go's. And then we're going to go through the mechanics of our fastball and some of the common mistakes that we make and things that we want to make sure of, okay? So today in our session, the first thing that I want to do is I wanted to try to be able to use very little equipment because I know most of us are at home. We're throwing in our basement, in our backyard, in our garage, in our hallway, whatever we have available, okay? So I'm trying my best to use as little equipment as I can to get you guys through this. So you will need, maybe you have a bow net, maybe you have something you can throw into your ball, an 11-inch ball. If you are 10 and under, if you're above 10 and under, 12 and older, you're gonna use that 12-inch ball. And your glove. You do not need a catcher. I'm not using a catcher today. I'm actually going to throw into a bow net and go through all of our movement that we're going to do, okay? But the first thing we're going to start with is our warm-up. So for our warm-up, we're just going to start with a standing long jump. So we want those feet a little bit more than shoulder width apart. We're going to use our arms just like we do in our wind-up, jumping out, landing in that good squat position, okay? Here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, good. So that's that standing long jump. The next thing we're going to do is single leg jump. So you're going to push off of one leg and land on 2. Okay? So I'll start with my pitching leg. Good. Then you'll switch to the other side. Good. Very nice, okay? And you're just gonna go through the 10 times 2 long jumps and then 5 times 2 single leg jumps again, okay? Once we're done with that, we're gonna go ahead and grab our ball. Okay, so we have 2 size balls that we're gonna use. Like I said before, we have the 11-inch, and that's for 10 and under, and we have the 12-inch, which is for the older girls, okay? So the first thing we're gonna talk about is how we correctly hold that ball when we're throwing a fastball. So today we're going over just our fastball mechanics, okay? So the first thing we want to look at is the ball, and we want to make sure that we grab the C seam. There are very many ways that we throw that fastball, but today we're going to throw a 4-seam fastball. So we're going to grab that C seam. So we're going to try to find the seam, just like when we throw overhand, that C seam on the ball. We're going to take our fingers and put them across those seams, okay? One of the most common mistakes that I see with girls is that they'll put their fingers on the soft part of the ball, okay? So if I'm putting it on the soft part of the ball, I'm gonna have a hard time really spinning the ball because I can't pull in the seams. So I wanna make sure that my fingers are across those seams, okay? I should be able to draw a line from my middle finger to my thumb, okay? I want my thumb underneath the ball, which is gonna put the ball in my fingers and not back in my palm, okay? So a lot of times what I see, and if your hands are smaller, you may have to move your thumb over a little bit, and that's okay, is that girls will put their thumb all the way on the side of the ball, which pushes it back in their palm, okay? If the ball is in my palm, it makes it really hard to spin the ball, and it slows that ball down, okay? So the first thing we're gonna start with is just grabbing on that C seam, and we're gonna do something called just our spins, okay? So let me push you guys back a little bit so you can see the whole setup here. So I have my bow net, okay? And the first thing that we're gonna do is just start with our spins, okay? So for our spins, we wanna make sure that our feet are nice and open. My front foot's at 3 o'clock. My body is facing towards the wall, okay, when I'm going forward. I wanna make sure that my elbow, I have inward rotation of my elbow, so my elbow comes past my hip, even with my belly button, okay? So if I were to ask you, where's my release point? Most girls would tell me at their hip, okay? If I release back at my hip, then my hand is facing towards the ground, and that ball is gonna go straight down. My release point actually is in the center of my body. So I have to make sure that my arm travels all the way through, past my hip, almost even with my belly button. So that's where I'm gonna set my arm for my spins, okay? I'm really gonna isolate my wrist so that all I'm working on is spinning the ball, okay? So we wanna make sure that we're not just doing snaps and pushing the ball, but that we're really pulling on the ball and spinning, okay? So I'm gonna hold my hand right in the center of my body, my elbows in towards my body, and I'm just gonna spin that ball right into the net, okay? I'm making sure that I'm isolating my wrist, really pulling with my fingers so that ball is rotating as fast as possible, okay? So I'm really rotating that ball. Okay? So when we're doing our spins, I like to tell my girls that I want you to do about 15 to 20 of those spins to start, okay? The next drill that we move back to is our 12 o'clocks, okay? And we're gonna do it a little bit different today since we're going into the net. So we're really close to that net. Just grabbing my glove. Okay, so how we're gonna start is we're gonna put in our 12 o'clock position, okay? So we wanna make sure that our feet are even and on our power line, all right? That's one of the most important things, is that we're even and on our power line the entire time, okay? We never wanna veer from that power line. We wanna keep both of our feet on our power line, our hips and our shoulders, everything stacked right on that power line the whole time, okay? So both my feet are on my power line. Okay, I'm gonna start in that 12 o'clock position. So my glove is going to point on the power line out to my catcher, and my arm is gonna be up, even, I like to say, bicep on my cheek, okay? But we're in this 12 o'clock position, all right? We wanna make sure that when we're throwing the ball, that our arm swing is beside our body and that our arm does not go behind our body. So we don't wanna over-rotate and have our arm go back behind our body, okay? So my feet are on my power line, my bicep is on my cheek, my hips are gonna stay perfectly still. I'm not gonna move them at all. I'm just gonna let my arm do the work. So my arm is up at 12 o'clock, snap through, elbow up facing my target when I'm done, okay? I'm not gonna move my feet from this power line. I'm gonna pull my glove side down as hard as I can into my front side. Okay, feet on the power line, bicep on my cheek, elbow through. Okay, and what you'll notice is that my hip is not turning. My arm is coming through. I'm snapping the center of my body, reaching to that glove. More of those. Very good. Now, one thing that you want to pay attention to when your kids are doing this is that their hip is not closing early before their arm gets through, okay? So, you should be able to see their arm get through past their hip snap, and then their hip can come, okay? But for these, we're just gonna keep that hip nice and still, okay? The next drill that we're gonna go to is called a go-go. Okay, I'm gonna move my net back just a little bit. And I'll move you guys over just a little bit so you can see. Okay, so for our go-go's, there's a couple things that we're going to be looking at, okay? And this makes it really easy for my parents to be able to watch their kids and make sure that their mechanics are good every single time, okay? So, we're gonna start in that pitching position, okay? So, you do not have to have a mound. If you have a mat, that's very good. It would be good for you to have a mat that you're throwing on. If you don't have a mat, it's fine. You can just put some tape on the floor, okay? I'm actually inside my church gym. My husband is the pastor here. So this is our facility. This will make it a little bit easier for you to see, okay? So the blue line that I'm using is what I'm using as my power line. The power line is the line that splits my body down the middle and goes all the way to my catcher, okay? That's gonna go right in the center of my body, okay? So for our go-go's, what we're gonna look at is that our body is staying on that power line the whole time, okay? So, we're gonna start with our hands separated, because that's where we have to start on the mound, and those hands are gonna come together, okay? When we wind up, both of our arms are gonna go back, and then we're gonna shoot out into that open position, okay? So I'm gonna wind up, push out, good. Once I land in that open position, there's a couple things that I'm gonna look at, okay? Is my glove side on my power line? Okay, this is the first thing we're gonna look at, all right? Because if I swim with my glove, or if it's away from my body, that's gonna close my chest and my hips towards my target, okay? So, we wanna make sure that our glove is facing that target. We wanna make sure that our front foot is at 3 o'clock, okay? If that front foot is set at 3 o'clock, that is going to set my hips in an open position. If my hips are open, my arm can freely get through without any distraction from my hip, okay? If my front foot is turned and it's facing at 12 o'clock, then my hips are going to be closed facing my target. If it's at 1 o'clock, they're gonna be a little more open, but still closed. 2 o'clock, 2:30, or 3 o'clock is gonna set me in a really good position for my hips to be open, okay? So my glove is facing the target, my front hip is facing my target, my front foot is at 3 o'clock, okay? Now, when I say go again, you're gonna go through and finish that pitch, okay? So in the second go, you're pulling through into your front side, my feet are still on my power line, my elbow gets past my hip and up facing my target, okay? And my glove is pulling down into my front side. Now, the reason that I like this drill is because it allows you to slow the pitch down and really pay attention to what your child is doing when they're throwing. It does not matter if your child throws 20 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour. It is hard to watch their body mechanics and catch for them at the same time, okay? So if I can stop that pitch halfway through, or if they're throwing into a net, it's gonna really allow me to evaluate their mechanics and what they're doing. Okay, so we're gonna go through this again. I'm setting those feet on the mound, get in my pitching position, okay? I'm gonna wind up, stop at that halfway point, all right? Front foot at 3 o'clock, glove facing the target, arm nice and long, and then when I say go again, snap through, elbow facing the target. One more time, okay? Wind up. Freeze, front foot at 3 o'clock, front hip facing the target, glove facing the target, pulling through on that power